everybody? God, it is good to be back. Happy Monday, July 24th, 2023. Welcome to Loud Majority Live, the local edition. I want to welcome you guys back in. I know I took off last week. It was a long week for me. It was a long week. I was stuck in Palm Beach for a couple days following the Turning Point USA Summit, but I'm happy to be back. There's a lot of stories to get to. Obviously, there was a big break in the Long Island, in the Gilgo Beach killing. I'm not going to harp on that because I'm not somebody that thinks it's good to profit off the deaths of others. I'm not, a host on Long Island News Radio. But we are going to get to the fact that illegal immigrants are still coming. They're still coming in at a record pace, being housed in all of our hotels in New York City. Nicole Meliotakis has put forth a bill in Congress stopping Mayor Eric Adams from housing illegal immigrants in our schools. And look, let's be honest, this is 40 miles away. If you're watching this in New York City, if you're watching this in Queens, it's coming. More importantly, Newsday has decided that it's going to dive headfirst into the culture war, and well, it doesn't go well for them because they decided that they were going to pick a long debunked culture war issue, something called a wage gap. Something called a wage gap between men and women in this country. That doesn't exist. It is amazing that Newsday decided to pop in to a culture war issue that is not only 10 years old, but has been long debunked by the likes of Jordan Peterson and Christina Hoff Sommers. I've got a video from PragerU that will debunk Newsday's entire cover story today, their entire cover story, because, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I be ready to debunk Newsday? They suck like nothing I've ever seen. Also, if we've got time, there's an interesting piece from Tom Brune in Newsday about 3 Long Island congressmen that haven't done anything yet. We'll get to that in just one second. Before we do, guys, hit the thumbs up button underneath this video. If you're watching on Rumble, if you're watching on Facebook, hit that like button. I know I've been gone for about a week, but the shows will keep up the way they have been going. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on Facebook, on YouTube, all across all the platforms, on Rumble. If you're watching on Facebook, guys, head over to Rumble because who knows how long I'll be on Facebook for. Let's be honest here. All the social medias will begin to crack down very soon. Very soon. We've got bad news coming out of Twitter when it comes to free speech. So make sure you're following on Rumble, rumble.com/loudmajorityus. That's rumble.com/loudmajority. Cheryl wants to know if I am planning on leaving New York. No. Everyone knows that. I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Let me just throw this into the chat so everyone can see it. If you're not on Rumble, I really don't know what the hell you guys are doing. Rumble is the place to be, the cool kids table over there, rumble.com/loudmajorityus, where you can say just about anything you want. Just about anything you want. So, before we get to the top story today, I've got to talk about Newsday. I've got to talk about Newsday because they've decided, and look, this is the local show, so we talk about our terrible, terrible local newspaper. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do that? Let me see if I can get this bad boy pulled up here real quick. Right on the cover of Newsday, they have a story about how Long Island has the worst gender pay gap of any place in the state of New York. Long Island's got the worst gender pay gap. Wait, you mean we're only hiring women on Long Island? No. That's not the story. Let's see. Can I get this bad boy pulled up here? Boom. Let's go. Here's the cover of Newsday right now. Anytime anybody walks into a 7-Eleven today, they are going to see this. Long Island gender gap, the largest in the state of New York, with the women making just 80% of what men make. The women making just 80%. Wait, time out. So you mean to tell me that women are only, that if men and women apply for the same job, businesses can pay women 4/5, 80% of what men get paid? Is that what you're telling me? Wow. Maybe all these businesses should just start hiring women, therefore they could save a whole bunch of money. Or or Newsday is lying to you. And of course, nobody would be shocked that Newsday is lying to you. I'm gonna introduce you guys to a very smart woman. A very smart woman. Her name is Christina Hoff Sommers of the American Enterprise Institute. Now, Christina Hoff Sommers has done phenomenal work on this topic. Here is her take. Oh, let's see, who is this? There we go. Here's her take on why people want to believe there is some sort of gender pay gap. Christina Hoff Sommers, kill it.
If for the same work women only make 77 cents for every dollar a man makes, why don't businesses hire only women? Wages are the biggest expense for most businesses, so hiring only women would reduce costs by nearly a quarter, and that would go right to the bottom line. Don't businesses want to be profitable, or are they really just bad at math? Well, actually, it's the feminists, celebrities, and politicians spreading this wage gap myth who have the math problem. Here's why. The 77 cents on the dollar statistic is calculated by dividing the median earnings of all women working full-time by the median earnings of all men working full-time. In other words, if the average income of all men is, say, $40,000 a year, and the average annual income of all women is, say, $30,800, that would mean that women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. 30,800 divided by 40,000 equals 0.77. But these calculations don't reveal a gender wage injustice because they don't take into account occupation, position, education, or hours worked per week. Even a study by the American Association of University Women, a feminist organization, shows that the actual wage gap shrinks to only 6.6 cents when you factor in different choices men and women make. And the key word here is choice. The small wage gap that does exist has nothing to do with paying women less, let alone with sexism. It has to do with differences in individual career choices that men and women make. In 2009, the U.S. Department of Labor released a paper that examined more than 50 peer-reviewed studies and concluded that the oft-cited 23-cent wage gap may be almost entirely the result of individual choices being made by both male and female workers. Well, let's look at some of those choices. Georgetown University compiled a list of the 5 best-paying college majors and the percentage of men and women majoring in those fields. Number 1 best-paying major, petroleum engineering, 87% male. Number 2, pharmaceutical sciences, 48% male. 3, mathematics and computer science, 67% male. 4, aerospace engineering, 88% male. 5, chemical engineering, 72% male. Notice that women outrepresent men in only one of the 5 top-paying majors by only a few percentage points. Now consider the same study's list of the 5 worst-paying college majors. Number 1, counseling and psychology, 74% female. 2, early childhood education, 97% female. 3, theology and religious vocations, 66% male. 4, human services and community organization, 81% female. And 5, social work, 88% female. Here, it's the women who lead in all but one category. Even within the same profession, men and women make different career choices that impact how much money they make. Take nursing, where male nurses, on the whole, earn 18% more than female nurses. The reason? Male nurses gravitate to the best-paying nursing specialties, they work longer hours, and disproportionately find jobs in cities with the highest compensation. Now here's how one expert on nursing compensation, Professor Linda Aiken of the University of Pennsylvania, sums up the data. Career choices and educational differences explain most, if not all, the gender gap in nursing. The Department of Labor paper concluded that once these differences are accounted for across all professions, the unexplained wage gap is somewhere between 4.8 and 7%, almost identical to the 6.6 percentage gap found by the AAUW. But why is there any gap at all? No one knows for sure, as both the AAUW and the Labor Department concede. There are so many variables that drive wages that no single study can cover them all. Few wage gap studies control for variables such as dangerous work environment. Men are vastly overrepresented, for example, on oil rigs. And here's another variable. Men are more willing and able to work long hours without advance notice. According to Harvard economist Claudia Golden, even if two lawyers have the same education, same specialty, and work the same number of hours, firms pay more to someone who is willing to always be on call and ready to be in the office when the firm needs them, as opposed to wanting a more regular schedule. This isn't sexism. It's just common sense. With more realistic categories and definitions, whatever wage gap remains would certainly narrow to the point of vanishing. So it seems that business leaders aren't bad at math simply because they don't only hire women. Those who claim that for the same work, women earn 77 cents on the dollar compared to men, on the other hand, are not merely bad at math, but at telling the truth. I'm Christina Hoff Sommers of the American Enterprise Institute for Prager University.
Now, did Newsday take any of that into account? Of course they didn't. Of course they didn't, because why would Newsday decide to dive into like facts and reasoning? Why would they spend any time on that at all? Here's the article from Newsday, their cover story today. Their cover story today, they could have talked about the Gilgo killer. They could have talked about the fact that George Santos' tie and his belt don't match. They could have talked about the fact that, illegal immigrants are flooding our country. The fact that, our schools are being forced to waste money, waste millions of dollars to redo their stadiums, to redo all of their jerseys, because one might say Chiefs or the Tribe or the Arrows or the Indians. We gotta waste piss money away on that. Newsday could have talked about the rising crime or the fact that young people aren't moving out of their homes. They could have talked about something important. Instead, they decided to talk about this utter nonsense. So why don't we dive in? Women working on Long Island face the biggest gender wage gap of any region in the state, making a median wage of 80.2% of what their male counterparts earn. You notice this is starting to sound like the PragerU video that was just explained away? No one knows the reason for sure, but labor experts say wage gaps between men and women tend to be bigger in higher paying categories. Yeah. Of course. Is that a serious question? Did they just actually say that? Did they just actually say that if there is a gap, it's higher in jobs that make more money? Everything is higher in jobs that make more money. And that's what Newsday went with their cover story. More broadly, there are many reasons the overall wage gap persists. And the gap has serious implications for local working families and mothers' lifetime earnings, says Shital Patel, the labor marketing economist with the Labor Department's Hicksville office. One big factor is, of course, the motherhood penalty, where women generally exit the workforce for some amount of time when they have children. You're right. The ability to make the next generation of humans, that's a penalty. That's a penalty to liberal women working in the Labor Department. That's a penalty. Ladies, when you had children, did you consider that to be a penalty? No, because I'm sure you guys are good parents. Not like, who is this? What the hell is this woman's name? Shital Patel? Staggering to me that a person can actually look at making a new batch of human beings and consider that a penalty. But you know what's not a penalty? 2,000 billable hours to whatever Fortune 500 company you're working for. That's real liberation, ladies. That's real freedom. That's real drive. That's fulfillment. Making junior vice president at some company nobody gives a shit about. But, making children, raising them, being good mothers, that's a penalty, according to the Labor Department. It is often during this window that women face some of the prime working years, when they normally would be moving up the ladders of their careers. Quote, the lack of pay and job mobility, it compounds over time. Women are losing money from that. Later, when you're factoring in pensions or Social Security, the lower your wages are, the less money you get. Joanne Donato, the president of the Suffolk County Women's Bar Association, said that women in the legal field long have faced pay inequity. See, this is the problem with the legal profession. We sit back and we wonder. We wonder why laws don't go our way, and it's because the majority of lawyers, the majority of judges are all liberals. The American Bar Association might be one of the most liberal institutions on planet Earth. Democrats have the trial lawyers and the unions. Republicans have, podcasters. That's why things don't change. And of course, just as Christina Hoff Sommers explains in this video, the issue is in all fields, and it's an issue in the legal field, Donato said. If you look at the big firms, there are just not as many female equity partners, and the pay in large firms is pretty significant. See that equity? See how it dribbles down through all facets of society? Women in the legal occupations who live in Suffolk County, for example, see median earnings of 48% of their male peers, while women in the legal field in Nassau made 67% of what men made according to 2021 statistics. A major limiting factor for women is starting a family, with many having to make a choice between advancing or having children, Donato said. Of course, that's the only thing. Despite all the other factors that there could be, what is the woman's name? Jody Ann Donato, a person you've never heard of and will never hear of again, has decided that just having children is the only reason why this could happen. I want to thank Newsday. Oh, here we go. Nationally, women earn an average of 83 cents to their male counterparts. And of course, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take for Newsday to dive into race? Women of color face the biggest gaps. Of course, because why would we have a story about unfairness without talking about the differences in race? Because, the only way to stop racial discrimination is to continue to discriminate based on race. Thank you so much, Newsday. We've got to bring race into it. What about little people? Gender bias plays a role. Ooh. Julia Baer, the professor of organizational behavior at Stony Brook University College of Business, says that the career women choose are also, there we go. Now we're starting to get somebody with a little bit of sense. But let's see how far. Let's just see how far we had to get down in this article to see this. The actual reason. Let's play a little game here. Let's see. What paragraph? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. A giant graph. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 graphs down. Then we get to the final answer. This is what the liberal press does. This is what the liberal media does. They bury the lead all the way on the third page so that nobody ever actually reads the real answer. They just read the headline. Remember, guys, this is what the headline of Newsday was on their front cover. Let me pull this bad boy up. This is what the cover was on Newsday. Let me get this up here real quick. Of course, Newsday's website was made in 1998, so, it takes a little while. This is what Newsday's cover was. LI's gender wage gap. Women median pay just 80%. That sounds like women are getting paid less than men, based on gender. But, alas, this is what we're focused on. This is what we're dealing with. I got two more stories I want to get to in the next 13 minutes. Sorry, traffic was a little rough getting up here today. Once again, I will be going. The show will be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8:15 to 9 o'clock, as always. Once again, I'll be back. I went on vacation for a little bit. As I said, I got stuck in Palm Beach for a few days and figured I'd take the rest of the week, so that's just how that works. Before we get into the next couple stories, here's a word from the great Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35, or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, head on over to mypillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. Please do consider supporting the people who support this show, who make this show possible. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Oh, I'm sorry. MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Once again, guys, do hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. That's that thumbs up button at the bottom of the screen. Keep sharing this video out all over the place. If you haven't, make sure you're hitting that follow button on Rumble. If you're new to the Facebook page, hit that. We hit 42,000 the other day. I'm super excited about that as we roll in to the 2023 election season. As we roll in, it is so important that you guys are staying up to date on everything we've got going on over here. Because, look, we got big local elections here on the county level, on the state level. Don't miss out on that. And, look, you're not going to hear this stuff in the mainstream media. You're not going to hear about the fact that 2 men were savagely beaten by illegal immigrants who got a little rowdy outside of a New York City shelter. One of the victims was pushed through a glass door, according to police. You're not going to hear about that on local news. However, what you will hear is that it turns out there's traffic on the Belt Parkway at 6 o'clock. No shit. A group of disorderly migrants hurled objects at passerbys in Manhattan before beating up 2 men who tried to intervene, pushing one of them through a glass door of an apartment building entrance on Sunday morning. According to police and witnesses, the violence broke out just before 9:45 in the morning in Harlem, when cops received word that pedestrians were being attacked by several individuals who were throwing objects at them. The New York City Police Department said law enforcement sources and witnesses said that the suspects were migrants staying at a former jail that had been converted into a shelter for asylum seekers on Central Park North, near where the incident took place. A 35-year-old man who came out of his apartment to confront the group was kicked and punched by the attackers. He was then pushed through a glass door, police say. No, nothing to see here, Eric Adams. First responders applied a tourniquet to his arm. He went to Mount Sinai in stable condition. Now we get to the part of the story that's really important. Look, people get beat up all the time in New York City. A 41-year-old man who tried to intervene in the attack was also beaten and suffered minor injuries. He was taken to New York City hospital. One person was arrested with charges pending. Cops canvassed the neighborhood, looking for the other 2 suspects who escaped on scooters. Very good. Very good. I'm sure nothing will be done about this. They'll go back to their shelters. No harm, no foul. Because, you can come into this country and have nothing happen to you. Nothing happens. It is amazing. And you've got idiots out there like Eric Adams who actually think that this is a good idea. To now, instead of overflowing our homeless shelters in New York City, now he wants to put them in schools. Hopefully we can get some help on the federal level, but I very much doubt it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of H.R. 3941. I'm proud to co-sponsor this legislation with Congressman Mark Molinaro, also from the state of New York. There are 2 people who are truly responsible for the crisis that we see of 7 million illegal immigrants who have come to the United States. And that is our president, who decided to open the borders without any type of process, any type of order, and quite frankly, in violation of our own federal laws. And then you have Mayor Adams in New York City, the city in which I reside and represent, who decided to misinterpret New York City's shelter law, right to shelter law, which was intended for American citizens, not citizens of other countries who just came over the border last week. The problem is, if you look at New York City right now, you'll see that there are more illegal immigrants being housed in our shelters than American citizens. Walk down the streets of the city and you see homeless New Yorkers, people who have substance abuse issues, people who have mental health issues, lying on the streets of our city while the mayor has gone head over heels and has done everything possible to house citizens of other countries who chose not to follow our rules, who chose not to follow the proper process, and have come into our country, and we don't vet them properly. We don't know what their intentions are. And I'm the daughter of immigrants, and I think that many people are coming here for the right reasons. They do want to have a better life, but there are many others who are not, and we need to differentiate the difference. And people who come legally need to follow our process. 2/3 of the people who are heard in court are not legitimate asylum seekers. That means they're in this country illegally. And for the mayor to insist that New York taxpayers have to continue to foot the bill of billions and billions of dollars while they're trying to keep roofs over their own heads. They're trying to pay their mortgages. They're trying to pay their property taxes, which he keeps raising, that levy. They keep trying to pay their mortgage. They're having own difficulty, thanks to Biden inflation, of keeping their own roof over their head. And now the mayor wants them to house these individuals as well. And then on top of it, to add schools, which is where children should be learning. They've lost 2 years of socialization, of physical fitness, of interaction, thanks to COVID. And now he wants to take away the school gym. So if anyone says it's a manufactured crisis, look at New York City, because it is happening there. And the people of New York know it, the people of this country know it, and they know that it has to stop. House Republicans put forward, by the way, a proposal to stop this, to secure our borders. And every single one of the Democrats voted against it.
This time has expired.
And I want to be clear. Look, I disagree with Congresswoman Miliatakis on a whole hell of a lot. On a whole hell of a lot, and I've said it to her publicly, and that's just kind of how I operate. However, let's be clear. When we see things like this, when this is from Viral News NY, I think everyone should absolutely be following this channel. Here are some, let me turn that down. Here are some migrants sleeping outside of a homeless shelter in New York City. You know, middle of the night, no big deal. Let's take a little nappy poo outside. Let's keep scrolling. How many more do we have here? Oh, that's not the video. This is the video. Here it is. Here's migrants being dropped off on a bus outside of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Beautiful hotel. Apparently, some of this tweet from Viral News NY, he spoke with someone outside of the Roosevelt Hotel, and they told him that some of the migrants are asking for bigger rooms. Some of them were offered to be sent upstate and have their rent paid for. But they told the person they like it better in the city. Why wouldn't they like it better in the city? They can just throw their trash all over the place. They can throw their trash all over the place right outside of the hotel, and no one will do anything about it. Not a single person will do anything about it. So they could have had their rent paid for upstate. Instead, they'd like to stay in the city. And why wouldn't they like to stay in the city? I'd like to also. Can you imagine coming here from Guatemala and having the audacity to go up to the front desk and asking for an upgrade of your room? What, the free one you're getting isn't good enough? Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But this is the world that we live in. This is the world we live in of ungrateful, self-righteous assholes that come to America. That come to America and think that they're owed something. You're not owed anything. You aren't owed anything. Oh, this is another good one. Here's a video outside of a newly opened migrant center. A lot of families out there. A lot of families out there, or do those seem like military-aged men? Just hanging out outside. No big deal. No big deal. New York City has become a dump. The greatest city in the world is over. Over. Such is life. Well, we didn't have time to get to this fun story. That I will show you guys the headline of. And I think the title of this article really describes this show in totality. The headline of this show, of this article, actually describes this show in its totality. Rep. Anthony D'Esposito, Andrew Garbarino, and Nick LaLota on the front lines of the internal GOP struggle. Yeah, you got that right. The struggle between the useful and the useless. Guys, I will be back at 1 o'clock today. Make sure you guys are I'm going to be diving far more into the gender wage gap because that story from Newsday actually drives me insane. We're going to be talking about that on LFA TV. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Rumble.com/LFA TV. Also, big news. Big news, guys. Make sure you're subscribed to LFA TV on Rumble. We're going to be covering the Trump rally live on the ground in Erie, Pennsylvania. On Saturday, I believe it is. Saturday, yes. Live on the ground on Saturday in Erie, Pennsylvania. We'll be covering the rally live. All-day coverage. Make sure you guys don't miss out on that. So make sure you guys subscribe. Rumble.com/LFATV. Let me throw that in the chat just in case. Rumble.com/LFATV. Boom. Make sure you guys are subscribed over there so you never miss out on any of the awesome stuff that we have going. Rumble.com/LFATV. Guys, I will see you back at 1 p.m. today. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Once again, I'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning right here. So make sure you guys subscribe, tag your friends to like the page so you never miss out on anything we've got going on. Until then, everybody, until 1 p.m. today, stay loud.